Have you ever found yourself worrying about your child, possibly right after the doctor's appointment, because you realize all of these points that your child is not checking? Maybe they weren't crawling by a certain date, or you can understand their friends who is just a month older than them, but you can't understand your own child? If you've ever found yourself worrying about this, well, then this episode's for you. Today, we're going to be talking about how these child development milestones, when they're treated like a checklist or a race, actually creates more stress for the parents and caregivers and the children. We're going to be really naming this pressure that comes from the system, this pressure that fuels this anxiety and stress. We're going to be offering some real validation for all of this weight that you're carrying, and we're going to flip the script. We're going to shift the focus to what truly supports healthy child development, all without that burnout. This episode is an exhale for overwhelmed parents who want their kids to thrive and succeed and want their family life to feel calmer and more connected. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? You're reading all of the books, you're following all of the advice, yet something still feels off in your parenting. You wonder why parenting is feeling so heavy when it's supposed to feel natural, right? Do you feel the pressure to do more when what you really need is permission to do less? If that sounds familiar, you're not failing, and nothing is wrong with you. Welcome to Nature to Nurture, the podcast where we talk about raising healthy families by returning to what has always supported children best: connection, community, and nature. I'm Tiffany, a mother of twins, an early childhood advocate, and a family and early childhood educator. This is a space where we focus on small, meaningful shifts, on connection over control, on rhythm over rigidity, and on presence over performance, so that families can feel more supported, grounded, and confident in the way that they're raising their children. As you listen today, I invite you to take this episode with you, step outside, go for a walk, breathe in some fresh air, and let this conversation meet you exactly where you are. Let's dive in. Real quick, before we begin, if these words are landing for you, go ahead and hit that follow button. It's the easiest way to make sure that you don't miss the small but powerful insights that support your children, yourself, and the way that you want to show up. I can remember sitting in a pediatrician's office, flipping through that little brochure that they give you while my kids played on the floor nearby. The paper was cute. It listed out the milestones by age, words they should be saying, skills they should have mastered, and I looked at my kids, happily absorbed in their own little world, and I felt, again, that tightening in my chest. Nothing was technically wrong, but suddenly, I was scanning each of them for problems that hadn't actually existed 5 minutes earlier. That moment stuck with me, not because of what the paper said, but because of how quickly my own nervous system shifted from calm and connected to my kids to on high alert and self-doubting myself. I know that so many parents are living in that space every day. I actually can reflect on many parents showing me this heightened, alerted, self-doubting nervous system when they used to come and pick up their kids and ask me how their kids were at the end of their preschool day. Oftentimes, when we're first introduced to child development milestones, they're often shown as these benchmarks instead of a range. At your child's first doctor appointment, they even gave you this checklist for you to take home and to focus on and to worry about. And at every continuous checklist, I guarantee they gave you that checklist again, or better yet, they actually gave you a questionnaire to go through and check off prior to actually talking about your doctor, so that you're already thinking about all of these things that your child is or is not doing before the doctor even entered the room. And it doesn't just stop at the doctor's office. It happens in preschool when you go in to have your child's first parent-teacher conference, and it'll happen continuously throughout their life, especially in school, as you're continuously getting these grade reports saying they are meeting expectations, above expectations, or below expectations. Or even when you get that lovely state test that tells you how they're performing compared to the rest of the United States. Whew. Now, I don't want to go off and say that it's all bad, that we should not have any standards. But the way that they are delivered to us, now that is bad. You see, many of the systems that shape how we parent, our healthcare, our education, and even our social media, they're built to manage a large group of children at once. To do that, they heavily rely on timelines, averages, checklists, norms. And those tools can be helpful, but they were never designed to capture the full picture of a real child in a real family and the real development that takes place. Instead of asking, is this child safe and connected and supported? These systems come in and they say, are they doing what most of the kids this age should be doing right now? And when that question becomes the loudest voice, parents, especially moms, start carrying the pressure of monitoring what their kids are doing, comparing them to their peers and to their family, and correcting them constantly because they want them to perform well. There are so many different opinions and choices out there, and I really do believe that each family needs to do what fits within their family and their values correctly. I'm not trying to say that helping your child and guiding them is incorrect, but I do want you to flip the reason on why you're doing it. An easy way that you can start is by reminding yourself that milestones are information, not judgment, not something that it's do or die. When you notice a milestone is starting to cause a little bit of anxiety in you, or rather than a milestone, you might notice that something your child is doing worries you. I want you to ask yourself, is this concern coming from my child? Or is it actually coming from all of this noise around us in our environment, from the system telling me what my child should be doing? This pressure doesn't mean that you are doing something wrong. When you start feeling that, it means you're parenting inside of a system that was never designed to support individuals, to support that nervous system health. And when you feel overwhelmed, it's not because you're failing or a bad parent. It's because you're being asked to do something that's impossible. You're being asked to raise a regulated human inside a culture that values speed, productivity, and comparison. So when you're feeling that frustration, don't get upset with yourself. It's because you love your kid. You want to do the best. And we just need to shift that mindset to remember, is it about the child, or is it actually about the environment, the system? Let's go a little bit deeper and talk about what happens when you start worrying about your child's development. Again, if you're worrying about your child's development, it's not because you're behind. It's because you care deeply and you're paying attention. But when parents are constantly scanning for what might be missing, their nervous system stays in this low level of alert, 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 something's not right. And over time, that vigilance makes it harder to feel confident as a parent, to actually be present as a parent, and to be connected. And your kids, They're picking up on that tension that you're giving them even when you are not saying anything out loud. Or in other words, this pressure to watch their development, to support their development, can actually pull you out of that relationship that supports development the most. I want you to shift from constantly evaluating your child. Are they doing well enough? Are they doing what they should be doing? How can I push them further? And simply just observe. Don't say anything. Don't put a meaning to it. Just watch what your child is doing. Oftentimes in early childhood, we have time for observation, and it is not looking to meet any milestone specifically. All you do as a teacher, you sit down 5 to 10 minutes and you take notes, literally documenting a video like you're doing a script. What is the child doing? What is the child saying? Without your judgment, without your bias. So you're not saying why they're doing it. You're saying they're doing it. So you could say, my son took the toy from his sister. Not, my son took the toy from his sister because he's upset and he doesn't know how to ask, please. Right? Again, you are only specifically stating or observing what is happening without putting that meaning. Without immediately translating those moments of play, of connection, of movement into progress or delay. Rather than checking in on your child regarding their development, I want you to check in with your child regarding your connection. Ask yourself just one question. Did we have a moment of ease or connection today? It could be a shared laugh, some eye contact during a meal, a walk outside, sitting together, holding hands while you're walking into the store. That moment right there, those little things, that little connection, remember? That matters more for healthy development than whether your child has done all of their academics for the day. You are not missing some secret tool. You are not doing something wrong. You may just be doing more than what your nervous system was actually meant to carry. So, what does balance actually look like? Balanced child development is actually rooted in safety, connection, movement, and play, not in hitting all of those points, not in that early achievement. You see, children develop skills best when their nervous system feels regulated and supported. We know that activities like nature play, unstructured time, responsive caregiving, all of these do more for development than any of those checklists ever could. Pushing outcomes too early actually creates more stress for children and parents without supporting long-term growth. There are studies after studies after studies that will explain more to you if you want to learn more about the negative consequences of academic instruction, specifically before the age of 7. You won't find those here in the United States. You do have to go and look in other countries in the world. But take a look at it. It is astonishing. Children were not meant to meet these checkpoints. Again, they were meant to have unstructured time, to have responsive caregivers, and to play. So how are you going to do this? How do you shift your mind from checking all of the boxes to actually being present? What I want you to do is to focus on rhythms instead of the results. At the start or at the end of the day, ask yourself simply, is my child sleeping well? Are they eating well? Are they moving their body? Are they connecting with caregivers regularly? Are they connecting with me? Those simple foundations matter far more than all of those milestones and expectations. Balance isn't about doing more. It's about creating the right conditions and letting the development unfold. When you have a child that is regulated, that is secure, that is connected, their learning will explode because they're not worrying about survival. They're ready for their brains to grow. So create that safe space for them in all manners. Again, I said this earlier, and I want you to really listen. Is your child resting well? Are they getting enough rest? Do they look tired? If so, maybe something's up with their rest. Are they eating well? Do they feel hungry? Again, I would look at that energy. Look at their face. Look at their skin. If something doesn't look right, you can always go back to this. Are they sleeping? Are they eating? Are they moving around and getting time outside? And are they having connection with caregivers and with other peers? I touch on rhythms quite a bit in previous episodes, so go ahead and head on back, take a look at those if you want to learn more about what is a rhythm, how to create a rhythm, really simple steps to start creating those rhythms within your day as well. I want to stress again that you are not doing anything wrong in raising your child. You, in fact, are the best person to be caretaking for them. You are the one that they need. And there's these simple shifts, specifically with our mindset, that we can do to not only support our connection with our kids, but to support our kids with their development. Much of the stress around this child development milestones, it doesn't come from our kids. It doesn't come from their actual performance. It comes from systems that rely on averages, timelines, comparison, large group herd mentality. And that pressure was never meant to sit on your shoulders alone. If you've been worrying, monitoring your child, second guessing yourself and your caregiving practices, it doesn't mean that you're missing something. Listen, it means that you care so much. But this constant concern and vigilance, like you are out to defeat whatever is going to bring your child down, that's going to pull you out of the present moment. Connection is what supports your child the most. It's what they need. It's what you need. Balanced development is not about chasing these outcomes. It's about creating the conditions for growth. It's about creating safety, movement, play, rest, relationships. When those are all present, the development unfolds in its own perfect timing. If you take nothing else from today, I want it to be this. You and your child are not behind. You are living inside of a culture that asks for more measuring than meaning. But what your child really needs is your presence, your attunement, and your willingness to slow down and to be there for them, to see them, no matter what the grades or the guidelines, the milestones are telling you. Because that right there, that matters far more than any checklist. That's what will stick in their heart, and that's what will stick in your heart. You don't need to do more. One small shift today towards connection, towards trust, towards ease and simplicity, that's enough. You are enough. Thank you so much for joining me today on Nature to Nurture. I really do hope that each of these conversations help you feel more supported and understood on your parenting or caregiving journey. And if you found value in today's episodes, please don't forget to follow the podcast and hop on over into our free community on Facebook, where we continue to share mini moments, wise words, and genuine support. As we wrap up, I'll leave you with this. Just remember, even on the hardest days, that a small moment of connection can make all of the difference for your child and for you. Until next time, take care, and I'm here with you every step of the way.